Follow Goa News Hub on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Myself Tejas Joseph, and I am the Chief Operating Officer of FiiRE. Our vision is to make Goa the world's premier destination for tourism tech startups by 2030. So we started this whole idea of tourism tech during the pandemic. So it was estimated that it was somewhere between 2,000 to 7,200 crores of estimated loss was there in the tourism industry. As being an incubator based out of Goa, we were thinking how we can contribute to the community. So this is where we thought of running an accelerated program very specific to tourism, Goa tourism. So we started a program called Goa Tourism Accelerator. Our assumption is like even if we are getting 4 or 5 applications for that program, we will run that and we help those startups. This is one of the most affected industry and one of the first affected industry. So we thought that almost a lot of startups already shut down their shop during that time period. So we decided let's run a program, and if anyone is applying, we will take them on board. For our surprise, we got 50 plus applications from 6 countries and 25 different cities to be part of the program. And to strengthen our belief and our vision, we have Goa Tourism Department, Goa State Innovation Council, GTDC, Travel and Tourism Association of Goa. So all these departments and associations came together to support us to help these startups. And we selected 14 startups, and currently those startups are in the phase of doing pilots in Goa. So this is the starting point where we realized that okay, there is a potential for this tourism tech, and no one is talking about it. And we, being a technology business incubator, we decided that let's focus on one vertical where we are naturally strong at, which is tourism. So this is the whole reason why we started this whole initiative, because there is no one else talking about tourism tech in the country. So there will be a notion about tourism tech. It's like either hospitality or travel, which is not necessarily the case. For us, tourism tech, how we define is like any solutions that supports Goa as a tourism geography or a state that falls under tourism tech. For example, one of our startups called Srishti Life Sciences, they are into making water bottles, glass water bottles, which are cheaper than plastic water bottles, as well as the existing glass bottles which are available. So this is a reusable glass bottle, and it actually helps with the sustainability as an ecosystem. So this is one of our startups who are part of our Goa Tourism Accelerator program. And this is nothing to do with travel or hospitality. So that's what sustainability is one piece. And there is one startup which helps with energy efficiency. For example, the ACs in the hotels and other places, right? They got this company called Zodia got a device to actually reduce the electricity bill by using ACs in hotels. So this is an energy efficiency, clean tech kind of solutions we have. So if you look at tourism tech as a vertical, travel, hospitality given. On top of it, mobility, waste management, clean tech, smart cities, all these verticals also fall under that, provided this is actually going to impact a geography where tourism is one of the best, most revenue comes from that vertical. And our thesis or assumption is, if we can do it in Goa, it's the test bed, it can be replicated in other exotic tourist locations also throughout the world. So what we are telling to the startups who are coming out of India or from outside, telling that test it out in Goa. If it works out here, this can be replicated and this can be scaled up in other countries also, as well as other geographic locations also. So this is the the vision, the reason, and the thesis behind what we do. And currently we are moving towards only supporting tourism tech startups, which means we are having a bunch of offerings. For example, we have an incubation program, we have an accelerator program, and we have investments to support startups. what comes under incubation is basically we have a world-class facility at FiiRE. It's a 25,000 square feet space where you can have your team working out of this place, and we have mentors who are industry veterans, who are founders who raised Series A kind of funding, and corporate leaders who can support. So we have that mentorship support, and we have 10 crores worth of benefits for startups like cloud credits, CRMs, and other benefits, and a great community of founders, a set of founders who understand this geography way better, and a opportunity to interact with them. So this is like an incubation program, and we have an accelerator program which we already done India's first tourism accelerator program called Goa Tourism Accelerator Program 2021, and now we are planning to have multiple other tracks in smart city, waste management, and other verticals related to tourism tech. So that discussion is going on, and the objective of having a accelerator program is like I have a product and have early customers. The idea is to help you with your go-to-market strategy, where you can go out and test your product with hospitality industry, travel industry, or mobility or waste management. So we have a close relationship with all these vertical decision makers to have a conversation. That's where we can help. Whereas in incubation, you come with an idea or a prototype and come out as a product. And the third vertical, which is one of the major vertical for any incubators, is the investment piece. So investment piece is basically we have 11 crores of funding with us for various programs. We have Nidhi Prayas for hardware prototyping. We give 10 lakhs per startup for 5 startups, and we have Nidhi EIR, Entrepreneur in Residence program, where we give 30,000 rupees per month for an year. The idea of Nidhi EIR is like I have an idea, but I don't want to work somewhere else to take care of my basic needs. We support them for 1 year to completely focus 24/7 focus on one idea through Nidhi EIR program. And we have Startup India Seed Fund scheme. That's a 3 crores of fund. We already invested in like 8 to 10 startups, and we are still in the process of investing more. So these are the three various programs we support under investments. And we have IMDD program. IMDD Investors Meet Demo Day. This is a series of events we did to support startups to have an interaction with investors. The idea here is not to get invested, but the idea here is if I'm a startup, I can have a conversation with the investor and tell that, look, this is where we are right now. This is our progress. And after 3-4 months, like every 4 months, we are planning to do this event as a series. So you will have a chance to come back and update the investors, telling that, look, this is where we progress. These are the metrics which got improved, and these are the places where we made mistake. This whole exercise actually allows to build a relationship between the investor and the startup. And that is very much important than giving a pitch to someone and stopping that conversation there. We believe that building that rapport, building that relationship actually takes you to a long way. So we did a event kind of thing for IMDD a couple of days back. So the idea was like to train them how to pitch, what it takes to close the deal, and what is startup valuation, and what does that mean, how to raise fund. So those like basic things, but we are teaching them so that they have their expectations clear while they have a conversation with the investors. So now we are going to have a conversation, the startups are going to have a conversation with the investors with this understanding through the training. And the reason why we are doing this is because of the success we tasted, which happened in 2018. One of the startups came and had a conversation with a couple of investors during the program. And recently, the company called Runo recently raised 500K pre-series A funding from the same set of investors. So they were having the conversation with the investors over a period of time. So that's the reality. Like it's not like I have an idea and I'm getting invested. That crores of money I'm getting. That's a Silicon Valley story. That's not necessarily that can happen in a geography like India. So that is where we are telling that why don't you build a relationship? So because they are going to invest in the jockey, not in the horse. So not the idea but the person. So they should believe you. So you should keep showing up. You should keep giving an update. And once you keep doing that, then We never know. The investors might be interested and say that, hey, he got a grit, he got that persistence to follow his heart and his idea. Why don't I give you a seed fund and let's see where it takes. And if it's going well, let's fund them, pre-series A or series A funding. So that is the whole idea or thesis behind IMTD. Like any ecosystems in the world, Goa and tourism tech also came as an accidental, coincidence. This was never going to happen before COVID. The only reason why the whole tourism tech, all this conversation happened, because we saw a lot of businesses shutting down during the pandemic time. We realized that technology is the only way to actually improve the efficiency or reduce the cost and to have better revenue during that time period. And the magic with Goa is like it's a brand. Goa itself is a brand, and it's very easy for us to have this conversation in other ecosystems. For example, if you look at Chennai for B2B SaaS or Mumbai for FinTech, it comes natural to them. And for us to focus on new verticals and try to build something out from scratch is going to be a tedious task. But naturally what we have is like the hospitality mentality, and the tourism is the like 65% of the population is directly or indirectly affected by tourism, or affected or as well as getting benefited, what we say now, because of tourism. So we don't need to build anything new here. We only need to bring that technology element to it and make the life easier. So whatever loss happened during last couple of years, our belief, our assumption is that that can be rectified and get a multifold of revenue purely because of bringing that technology element to this whole equation. This is not mature ecosystem in the sense tourism is not a space where too many players are there, right? So that's why we broaden the scope of tourism tech with not limiting to travel and hospitality. And the thing is that end of the day, startups needs to pilot their project or test the project. And whichever location, whichever geography allows them to do that faster, then the talents will migrate to that place. And that's what we are building here. And the reason why this is a better chance for us compared to other ecosystem is like the kind of decision makers in tourism tech or tourism industry is like very close by in a geography like Goa. You don't need to have if you want to have a meeting in North Goa and South Goa with the different stakeholders, that can be done in one day. Might not be the easy thing which you can do in other states. And that way, being a startup, time is very important, the pace is very important, and validating your idea as fast as possible is very important. Being in a geography like this, you can get all sort of stakeholders. It can be decision makers from hospitality industry or travel industry or government officials or incubators or other founders for that matter to discuss. Everything is in close proximity. And having that tourism element to this whole conversation, that makes it easier. And a lot of startups are seeing the value of this whole thing. Like if you look at the startups applied, as I said, it's not just from India, we got applications from other countries also. So that's like without zero branding, we achieved that. So that's a validation for us. With a little bit of push from our side, we can find the right talents and attract them to Goa. For education, there is EdTech. For agriculture, there is AgriTech. For financial, there is FinTech, right? So like that, there is a new vertical. FiiRE actually introduced this called tourism tech, right? So the challenge, as you said, is that it's very difficult to propagate this whole message throughout the world, telling that, look, we are having a new vertical and we have new opportunities. The best way for us to go forward is to have partnership with stakeholders. For example, if we partner with any hospitality or travel industry, that is easy for us to tell that, okay, tourism tech can be fall under that. The moment we have a partnership with something related to waste management, some corporates who are not related to tourism but related to smart city and other areas like clean tech, mobility, we are planning to run more challenges with bigger partners who have a better reach throughout the country and globally who are present. And that's the way to evangelize this. And we have influencers in tourism space who are backing us to propagate the whole message of tourism tech, and we are looking forward, and they are convinced that this is something which is needed not just for Goa, for other tourism ecosystems. And doing something like this here and showing a proof of concept allows more tourism ecosystems to experiment on that front. If you have more people doing that, that itself amplifies the idea of tourism tech. And we are starting somewhere, and we started during the tough times. It actually helped us to propagate this message, because there was no avenue for these startups to go out and have conversation. Not just startups, even the corporate partners or other government stakeholders, decision makers, those kind of people in this area, there were nothing happening at that point. So that actually allowed us to evangelize this idea during the tough times. Now we are seeing a spike because of the new normal. People are start moving, and businesses kind of coming to close to normal. Yeah. There is a story where Uber CEO, ex-CEO, founder of Uber, Travis Kalanick, was here in Goa. He was coding, his team was sitting and coding, sitting out of Goa before he actually launched the product. So if someone got an idea, this is our validation. Like you don't need any distractions. You need to focus on your idea where you are building it. And if you have a validation that this actually works, then we suggest, why don't you come down to Goa, take some time off from the day-to-day activities which you are normally otherwise doing, and focus your only on product and build out of Goa. And while you're building this, we will help you to validate that here. The kind of audience, the kind of population here is like much more tolerant compared to other ecosystems, where they allow you to basically test your product. If you look at other ecosystems, you test your product. If it's not working out, chances are very difficult for you to get into the market again and pivot the idea and do that. So what we realized is, like, there is a really good patient audience in Goa. If you are coming with an idea, you build your product out of this place, test it out here, and if you feel this makes sense, then go out and scale it up to other ecosystems. Worst case scenario, you can have a peace of mind and a focus, and you don't have any distractions. Build your product, don't think about anything else 24/7 for the next 3 to 6 months. Build it out of Goa. And that's the uniqueness we have as an ecosystem compared to other mature ecosystems. I started as a student entrepreneur at the age of 21, so it was very difficult at that time. So this is like 10 years later. Now I'm looking back, this is the right time, like in the sense you have all the amenities with you. It's not anymore, you don't need to convince your parents, or you don't need to convince the society that I'm going to have a startup as a career option. It becomes a norm all of a sudden, right? This was a difficult thing 10 years back. Now it's much easier. All you have to do is, like, you have an incubator to support you with. You don't need to worry about anything from internet to basic setup to set up your company, company registration, from you name it. Everything is available. All you need is a good idea, or even if it's an idea, it doesn't matter. You come with an idea and try to validate that idea out of an incubator. I suggest incubator for a reason that you have all the support system under one umbrella. Otherwise, you have to run around to find all those things. And this is the best time, if you ask me. Like government is also talking about Startup India, and everyone is talking about that. So it's not like a tough thing to convince anyone. All you have to take is take a break. If you are a youngster, even if you take a 2 or 3 years break in your career, there was a notion, like during our time we were thinking, like, will it affect our career? So after 10 years, we can confidently say that you will be better off compared to any other corporate employees, because you are making decisions by yourself. You are running a team. You are managing your P&L, and you are managing a lot of other factors, parameters which you are not aware of during your college days or your school days, right? So when you get into a space like this, you learn a lot more things, people management, you learn a lot new technological advancements happening, and you learn how to actually become a better person during that 2 to 3 years. Even if you go back to a corporate, you will be a better asset compared to the existing ones. So I would suggest, why don't you give it a try? There is nothing to lose. 2-3 years of your life, you explore more, you will be a better person to execute better things in your life, either in startup world or in a corporate world.